Hi everyone, it's Rax. After blasting last Epoch for a week, we're finally back over on the POE2 side with 0.3 launching on Friday. By the way, it's free and they save your progress. Free to play for the whole weekend. So if you've never played POE2 and you want to try it, you got nothing to lose. We have the patch notes here. But what we don't have is we don't have the passive tree, or we don't have the final numbers or anything like that. And even after reading some patch notes, we can't be completely sure how some mechanics work until we actually try it in the game. So this entire video, what this video normally is here's a leveling guide that's extremely good that will just dominate for you, and here's all the stuff that you need to prepare for the league. But since I can't make that for you, this will just be a conversation. We can make some we can make some educated guesses about the state of the game, but anything could be reversed. Anything we say is amazing could be bad, or vice versa. We just won't know until it starts. So yeah, let's just get right on into it. So the question that you're probably wanting to know the most is what Ascendancy looks best. And after looking at it for 5 hours with all the lovely people in chat today, I come to the same conclusion that it seems like everybody else is coming to, in that Deadeye seems to be the best Ascendancy after the changes. So Deadeye, especially for any kind of a projectile skill, seems insane. It's got Tailwind, and Tailwind is going to help you move faster, and it's going to give you skill speed. It's just overall very, very good node. Nothing can beat just running through the game faster. They're making some changes to the Deadeye, and they're changing some things with how marking works. But one very interesting thing to know in the patch notes is this right here. Mark skills are no longer spells. So when you would do something previously, like maybe you would add cast on crit, okay, it's literally right here. If you read it, gains energy when you critically hit enemies and triggers socketed spells. So now that you can't trigger those, it makes it a little bit harder to apply the marks. But with some of the changes that they made to the Deadeye, it seems like applying those marks is going to be a hell of a lot easier for them, which again is almost further puts them in the lead. And then you have things like projectile skills do 20% more hit damage, which is the more is multiplicative. The damage starts to really, really add up here for Deadeye. I expect a lot of people to go for this. Then we have this new thing, this is super popular in POE1 for leveling, for like twink leveling. I leveled a couple of characters with the Hallow Palm technique, which you would socket into one of your jewel slots in POE1, and for twink leveling, you can just obliterate the game, right? I think there's a couple guides by Havoc on how to do that. And they're adding it into the game here, and it looks like on the tree, people are theorizing that it's going to be somewhere over here on the tree, so you could activate it maybe about level 20. And essentially what you do is it's going to give you the melee fantasy where you don't have to wear a quarterstaff anymore. You don't wear anything in your hands. And so the unarmed attacks are going to give you physical damage based on their skill level. Then we get more attack speed for 25 item evasion rating on your equipped armor items. To me, that means your body armor, your helmet, your gloves, and your boots. And then plus 0.01% critical strike per 10 item energy shield on the equipped armor items. So essentially, instead of getting our staff, they're going to give us a base physical damage based upon the attack that you're using, how high that skill level is. So since you lose your weapon and your offhand, you can get, I think, +3 on the amulet, +2 on the gloves. You can get, I think, potentially +2 on support gems, one from one of the new lineage support gems, and one if it has a +1 gem to whatever tag that you have on the skill. And then there may be some jewels that add +3 to it as well. So we're looking at somewhere in the ballpark of a level 28 skill without using a weapon. And it's a very interesting debate about like whether this is even going to be viable or not, because some of the end game weapons provide a lot of damage. And so the numbers here are going to have to be pretty favorable on the base damage, or there could be like maybe unarmed clusters in the tree that really buff this playstyle. But again, we don't know. Like that could just be copium, but we don't know because we don't have the skill tree. So for doing this, again, because Deadeye is so strong, there's a very clever idea you can do. So if you go here, and if you just go, if you add a skill and you look at the quarterstaff skills and mouse over all of them, there are actually two that have the projectile tag, Falling Thunder and Staggering Palm. And I watched Sarge2's video on this, and he does a great job. He's a great POE player. He thinks this is going to be extremely strong. So if you hear a lot of people say, well, we're going to try a Hallowed Palm and we're going to go Falling Thunder, it makes sense because the projectile tag synergizes with Deadeye, which is like the best Ascendancy in the game, it looks like, unless there's some mechanic found or some synergy with some build for another one of the Ascendancies. So anyway, blah, 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 blah. What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you that I'm expecting Deadeye to be by far the most popular Ascendancy. And if you look back a couple leagues ago, I had a Lightning Arrow Deadeye leveling build. And that was, I think, one of my most popular videos I think I ever made on my YouTube channel. And I'm expecting something like that to just completely dominate. So you might ask, well, why don't you have a new tree for me now, Rax, so I can level as that? We don't have the tree. The tree doesn't exist. So I guess you can look at mine. I think Fubgun tried to theory craft a new one. He makes good videos. So that's another one you could consult there. But, however, this is 0.3, and the main additional content in the game, besides all the new like changes to the Ascendancies, like the actual content in the game, is Act 4. And then all of the little mini acts that come after it. That'll be cool to see. And then there's the Abyss League mechanic, which does look cool. I like Abyss in POE1. I think I'll like it better in POE2. It looked cooler. But I think we're going to chew through that content pretty quickly, like on the first day or two, I would guess. So this league for me, as someone who's played it before, is not really about, I'm not looking to play the thing that everybody else is playing. I'm not looking to erupt and be super far ahead or anything like that. Nothing like that. So what I want to do is I want to have fun and I want to try the new things. So what I'm going to do, what I've committed to do, for better or for worse, is I'm not going to go Deadeye. I'm not going to go Falling Thunder Deadeye. I do want to play Hallow Palm. I want to try this, even though a lot of the math here says unless the passive tree has some like massive help for unarmed, it seems like it's going to be just worse than using a weapon. We go with it anyway. We're YOLOing it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Chalupa. So they made a ton of changes to this. And I've never played this before. It's another reason why I really want to play it. And I could sit here and go through, like, we could open up the patch notes and look at all the different changes. But instead of doing that, let me just tell you what I'm going to try to make work here and see if we can somehow make something happen here. So this skill, Into the Breach. So if we mouse over this, it spawns a flame of Chalupa. And if we read through what this does, it spawns 3 flames. Red gives you life leech, blue gives you mana leech, purple gives you % damage as extra chaos. Well, these are going to spawn all the time, and the new upgraded node is going to let you choose only one of them to spawn. So the idea here, pretty obviously in the end game, is to spawn the purple ones, because the purple ones just give you more damage, right? So I just want to do more damage. But the thing is, for how long the duration lasts, so it currently lasts for 5 seconds and stacks up to 10, and with how often it spawns, it's not clear if we're going to be able to keep those max stacks all the time. if you could keep the stacks all the time, and by the way, with some of the changes, I believe these have even a higher increased effect. So it's going to be more than 70% extra chaos damage. If we could keep this up all the time, we might have a pretty significant damage increase. Are we going to be able to do that? Well, sitting here in theory crafting with what we have, I don't see a way to do it. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm hoping we'll find a way. So that's the first thing, is trying to understand, can we take advantage of these flames? And then the other thing is going this way. So if we go up here, I guess we may have to open up Chayula. I don't even know how to spell it. I always call it Chalupa. Chayula. Okay. So this is the one where it's changing them all to purple. And so the one that we want to talk about here is this one, volatility. So we're going to gain volatility when we inflict elemental ailments. And now volatility doesn't do any damage to us. So of course, we're going to look at what volatility does. And now we can also get chaos damage from hits, contributes to ignite magnitude, all of the different elemental ailments. So you see a synergy there. So volatility is going to give us, first of all, it's going to hit us for physical damage based upon how many stacks that we have. And volatility keeps building up and building up till one of two things happens. You either get 200 stacks, that's the cap, or until you go 4 seconds without gaining a stack of volatility, or there are ways for you to either detonate it yourself with some different mechanics, or you can cap it at 30 to not let it go up very high. So the idea is, sorry, I'm losing my voice here. If you build volatility to 200 and then it detonates, well, now it won't hit you anymore. It used to hit you. That's good. It doesn't hit us. And then I believe it gives you 1% extra chaos damage for every stack of volatility that exploded, and it lasts for 10 seconds. So then the ideal situation would be in the next 6 seconds, we go back up to 200 volatility, and that way it counts down the 4 seconds and triggers it again, and we keep that buff up forever. Now, I've never played this before, and there was some cool tech in the past, a bunch of different ways. I looked at a bunch of different ways from different content creators about how they have built this volatility very, very quickly. But a lot of it has been around a very specific support called Volatile Power. This. Gain 5 volatility on using a supported skill that are empowered. And then you can use a different ability to keep your skills empowered. So you use the attacks very quickly with your unarmed, super fast attack speed boy. Get it up to 200 volatility very quickly, and there you go. And then you have a massive buff all the time. There's also some different nodes around here that are kind of interesting, but also not really. Chance to gain by volatility on kill. Okay, that's kind of interesting, I guess. And they have more chances over here. And this gives you a chance, 25% chance that when it detonates, you could just gain an equivalent amount of volatility to keep it. However, with grinding gear games, removing the support skill was removed. Removing it from the game. Now I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to keep these volatility stacks going. I'm not sure that the strategy is going to be go all the way up to 200 and then just keep it going forever. Are we going to have to cap it at 30 with the passive node? Are we going to have to take the support skill that lets us detonate it over 20 so we keep detonating it until we get close to the boss, and then we let it stack up like really high and then dive in the boss room, and 4 seconds later it triggers and then you just nuke the boss or something? I don't know. Like I have no idea what the answer is. This is what was what Chat and I were thinking about for hours and hours and hours. But I guess we'll have to see if there's something on the tree that really helps us, or there are brand new endgame supports called lineage supports. Maybe they remove Volatile Power as a regular support, and maybe there's a super powerful lineage support, which makes it really work and really dominate or something. I have no idea. We're just chatting here. But I'm hard committing to doing this. We're just gonna try it, and if it's garbage, or if it's not garbage, either way, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm definitely gonna go Sorcerer. And if you haven't looked, the Sorcerer has new things called infusions, which kind of power up their spells. It visually looks amazing, and I would love to try to make an awesome build around something like that. For example, Arc seems to be significantly buffed in the patch notes. There's 28 arcs here, of course. But here it is, Arc, and seems to get pretty significant buff. Might be a really cool skill to try. We could try to revitalize the old Spark build, which was one of the best builds ever. I think it'd be really fun to try to theory craft and get maybe a Stormweaver going. Super powerful. That's going to be my second character, almost certainly. But for me personally, it's going to be kind of interesting problems to try to solve. And if I do make something really, really good, I'll make a build guide for it. And if it sucks, I'll probably just make a video saying what an epic failure it was, and whatever you do, don't do what I did. But if you're looking for what I think is going to be really strong, just Lightning Arrow Deadeye, good old trusty Deadeye. Or if you want to go the unarmed, the Falling Thunder Deadeye, looks very good with the projectile tag. I guess that's pretty much it. We could sit here and talk about a lot of the other things. There are some other cool ascendancies, like the Blood Mage looks pretty cool. But yeah, I'd be genuinely interested. What are you guys playing? Are you guys going Lightning Arrow Deadeye? By the way, I should say this. If you go Lightning Arrow Deadeye, just be aware that you got the cool new trading system. Hooray, everyone's loving life. But it's going to be expensive. I expect that to be by far the most popular ascendancy. So if you play the most popular thing, just be aware that I'm expecting the bows and the quivers, all of the good ones, all of the good gear, to be very expensive. So just be prepared if that's what you're going into. It does benefit you to do something weird or off meta, at least in terms of this particularly, because it looks like Deadeye is like the top of every single person's tier list. It looked to be the best ascendancy from what I looked at as well. If you don't want to go Chalupa, by the way, there is also Invoker. Invoker there's some changes to it. Seems like the good old-fashioned Invoker. They nerfed Meditate from 200% to 150. Meditate is still godly. You can still get a ton of Spirit from the Spirit node. And then, I don't know, maybe you take the extra damage and you go down here. A lot of people have been criticizing, like they buffed this skill pretty significantly, but people say that I don't know if I've ever even played this, so I never even saw how strong it was, but people say after the buff, in theory, it should still be really bad. And the crits ignore non-negative enemy monster resistances. That probably like sounds really good, and it might be decent in like really early game, but I think as you build out your entire character, I think I don't know what use this path would have. So Meditate is still going to be insane. The extra Spirit is insane. By the way, Grim Feast is gone, so that hurts. Because usually with these builds, we stack Evasion and Energy Shield, especially because Hallow Palm scales it. You get the attack speed for the evasion rating on your armor, and then you get energy, or for the Energy Shield, you get crit chance, which will synergize amazingly from all the crit nodes that we usually take on these builds, all these blue nodes like over here and stuff like that. Anyway, this is just supposed to be a fun little conversation of some things to think about. Another thing that I should say is if you're planning on going Sorcerer, it looks like they nerfed Arcane Surge. If you ever played that before, Arcane Surge was pretty damn powerful, and a lot of builds kind of were based around Arcane Surge and scaling its power. So I believe that got a decent nerf over there. So be aware if you're going Sorcerer. Make sure you look at that and make sure you're prepared with your build for whatever you're doing on that. Anyway, I'm going Hallow Palm, no weapon, Chalupa Monk. Can we keep a lot of the flames active? Can we find a way to keep the volatile power resetting at 200? And if we can't, is there anything that we can do to get the stacks really high and get a consistent buff there? And is it good at all? We're going to try for fun, and I'll let you know the results either way. But I'll be absolutely blasting on the season. I might make a fun little video about Act 4 and the side acts or something. I'll definitely make a video on the Abyss mechanic to see how it works and see if there's a lot of stuff that we can get out of it. Yeah, I hope you guys have a lot of fun. I've always been a fan of POE2. I have almost 1,000 hours played in it already. I have never been like doom and gloom on POE2. I do think POE1 currently is the better game, but I think POE2 is getting there patch by patch. So I'm going to have fun. So even if this build blows, whatever, we'll reroll Sorcerer. But I'm going to try my best to stay away from Deadeye and that stuff, because I think so many people are going to do that. It'll be theory crafted to oblivion. People will figure it out. That's awesome. Let's try some other stuff and see what we can figure out. Anyways, hope you guys are having a great day, and hopefully I'll see you on stream for the launch. Thank you.